Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I'm doing a little more thinking about the Lakers. The Lakers are definitely on my mind to start this week. Of course, we're hopeful that they'll sign Tony Bradley or Tristan Thompson right away so we can have that player in place on Wednesday for our matchup against Phoenix. But I'm thinking about Austin Reeves. Obviously, he's coming off the big game. We've had a conversation this morning about how we were singing his praises and talked a whole lot about the Lakers earlier today, but I'm still on it. I want to say more about him possibly starting and what that does potentially to the lineup a little more. I already had a conversation about this, so forgive me if I recap some other things, but I got different thoughts right here. Lonnie Walker's piece would accentuate more if we started Austin Reeves. That's essentially what I'm saying. We don't use Lonnie at all. And when you shape it up to try to figure out what Austin brings to the table off your bench and why you don't want to bring him into the starting lineup because you think you won't have that, Lonnie gives you that on your bench. That's what it is. It's like looking at our. I hope I'm able to articulate my thought because I've been giving this a lot of thought for the last 10 minutes or so, and it's all kind of jumbled together. But essentially, what I'm saying is this: what I expect from Austin Reeves coming off the bench for me is to be able to give me continuity. He's going to make plays for other people. He's going to do some things on the defensive side, but more than anything, he's going to hit 3-point shots. He's going to get to the line. He's going to put himself in a position to put pressure on the rim, offensive rebound and stuff like that. He's going to really, really give me a long body that can defend, and I can put him at the 3 comfortably, like him at the 2, and he, of course, can run the offense some. But here's what you're worried about if you start him. You wonder if you're going to be able to if you're going to have so much of your roster have not those abilities within it. Once you start him and having him eating into starters minutes, then you're bringing Malik Beasley off the bench, as to which he's going to be able to really do for you is shoot. So you're concerned that you're not going to have those intangibles in lesser lineups that doesn't involve AD and Bron and D'Lo. So it's like you think that your bench isn't going to be as strong because you're lacking those intangibles, you're lacking that athleticism, you're lacking that pressure on the rim in theory. But if you swap Lonnie Walker's minutes with Malik Beasley in this situation, now you can see yourself having a little more of what Austin Reeves gives you coming off the bench now that you've replaced Austin with Malik Beasley, because Austin's going to do all that stuff in the starting lineup. And then with Lonnie coming in, you got athleticism. You have somebody who can make some plays for others. Maybe not as much on the defensive end if you put him in the wrong positions, but if you put him at the 2-guard position, he'll be upright. And guys like Vanderbilt and Schroeder will help him defensively keep up with the second unit. So for me, it's like we're doing certain things by necessity, I think, but the necessity is not necessary. In other words, for example, like we're playing Rui Hachimura at the 4 spot and we're having trouble finding him rotational minutes. But then again, that's because we must put Malik Beasley in the starting lineup. If we remove Malik Beasley from the starting lineup, you could slip Rui Hachimura into more comfortable rotations at the 3 spot and at the 4 spot, because now you have other players that are going to complement you playing on in that unit that Austin Reeves is now vacated, basically. That he's going to now be starting, so those players are, because of how the roster is constructed, guys like Troy Brown, Max Christie, Devon Reed, they're able to play 3 and 4 and 2, some of them. So now you have, it's more versatility you allow yourself to play Lonnie Walker, to play Max Christie, because now Austin Reeves and his length is no longer in your starting lineup. It will force you to play those players. So it's like, I don't know if Darvin understands this, but because he's forcing Malik Beasley into the starting lineup, it is why other guys are phased out of the lineup that should not be phased out. Lonnie Walker is not, by this construction of this roster, he's not supposed to be phased completely out of the lineup. Not by any stretch of the imagination. If you start Austin Reeves at the 3 spot or the 2 spot, Lonnie Walker now gets his minutes. You see what I'm saying? But because we're not doing that, Rui Hachimura at the 3 spot, same thing. Now you have an opportunity to play Vanderbilt more at the 4. You got AD Winion at the 5 at times. Winion could play more 4 if Rui's at the 3. Troy could play more 2 and 4 if Rui's at the 3. Austin can play more 1, more 3, more 2 if Rui's, well, more 2 and 1 if Rui's at the 3. You see what I'm saying? So there's just the different things that you can do that you're supposed to do as you imagine this roster for what it's constructed to be, that Darvin's not doing because of his beliefs in shooting with Malik Beasley, or however his mindset is in regards to using Malik Beasley. So I'm telling y'all, he ain't using the roster correctly, and that is why we have certain deficiencies. Lonnie Walker's supposed to be able to make up at least 15 points off your bench. It's not accounted for because this guy's not using him because of how he's slotting players in different positions in ways that are not for this roster at all. So that's what I'm seeing. It's like it's interchangeable pieces all up and down the roster, but he's phased some of them out because of his need to play certain players out of position, because of his need to play certain players in certain situations that they're actually not supposed to be played in at all. They don't even help you on paper to do what it is that he's doing in those situations. And it phases out players because of it. So it's like, yo, I see what's going on with our roster. That's why we have a player that can score 30 points at the shooting guard position not getting no minutes, because this dude want to play people out of position and lean on people he's not supposed to lean on in ways they're not supposed to be leaned on. Malik Beasley ain't supposed to be leaned on for no 26 minutes to go 1 for 7. He's supposed to be in the game for about 12 minutes if he's going 1 for 7. You ain't gonna never see him go 1 for 7. That's Lonnie's minutes. That's Winion. That's Max's minutes. That's Rui's minutes. You know what I'm saying? Those are the minutes he's supposed to be giving those guys to play the 2 and the 3 all the way around. And then what you're also supposed to actually do is put Malik at the 1. Since he's so small, put Austin or Dennis Schroeder at the 2 so they can play make, and then you can make his size make a lot more sense than we even allow ourselves to. But this guy is hell-bent on putting him at the 2, starting him at the 2 at that, and it takes away from some of your versatility as well. If you move Malik Beasley to the 1 in certain situations, give yourself the ball handler like Austin Reeves and Dennis Schroeder at the 2, your roster will make a lot more sense then. Now you got opportunities to play Rui at the 3 or the 4, Vanderbilt at the 5, AD at the 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? And you still got the size that's not kicking your butt. Now, because Malik Beasley is the shortest player on the floor, he's not as much of a hound defensively. Now he's going up against guys his size at the point guard position more than likely. And you put Austin Reeves or D'Lo or Schroeder, whoever there to make the plays for him at the 1 spot, so his size can make sense. And you don't put the ball in his hands to play point guard. You just slot him at the point guard position and give the 2 guard the ball. That's all you do. So it's like, again, this roster is excellent, man. It is really, really a good roster. And you give this roster to a good coach, any good coach, and they're going to get this roster they're going to get the wins that they need. Because it's not a difficult roster to use. Unless you got ideas about how to use it that doesn't make sense. Then you're going to ostracize certain aspects of the roster that doesn't allow yourself to get the most out of it. So there you have it, man. That's what I see there. Opportunities for us to use this roster more properly. And this guy just not doing it. You know, Max Christie, Austin Reeves, and Devon Reed are players that you can sneak opportunities to play. All of them are. Especially with Malik Beasley playing as inconsistently as he has. Troy Brown playing as inconsistently as he has. And with the thin nature of how our front court is set up, if you just slot players around a little differently, you can get those guys. Devon Reed is a guy I could see if he could play the 4. All he's doing is playing defense anyway. Why the hell have I not slipped him in at the 4 to see if he could play some 4 for me in this situation where we've been so thin? You know what I mean? When we've been so small, it's like, have we not tried to see if this guy's a lockdown man? I would be mad as hell if this is a guy I could have put on somebody who's cooking. And all this time we're just sitting them because our coach is just doing other stuff. And so that's my thing. It's like, I know that this team was methodically put together. I know that because they had too much time not to all off season long, and throughout the beginning of the season when the market was locked up, they had opportunities to figure out what exactly they needed and didn't need in order to compete with the teams that they got left to see. I know this. I know it. So when I look and see us not utilizing the roster correctly, I think it betrays all of the hours that they put in constructing this damn thing. That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, man, this wasn't just a regular roster put together. They had so much time to build this thing because they couldn't make moves with that locked up market. So this thing is built to do what it is that we need it to do. And if you utilize it properly, I am certain that's exactly what it's going to do. I'm certain. This roster is great in terms of how it's constructed. The only problem that it has is that the players that it's in it are not reliable to stay healthy. But if you can get the fullness of this roster from top to bottom on the floor for 82 games, we're probably going to win the championship. I don't know that there's a team better constructed than this one. I don't know that there is. And it's because we had time to build it. It's because we could not move and construct anything. And all we had is time to sit there and think about what we wanted to put together against the field. It's meant to do that more so than most of the other teams that were put together in different ways that didn't have the short-sighted nature of what it is we've been looking at to build it. In other words, nobody's made more pieces move around in our rosters sooner than we have. We've made bigger moves than anybody else. We've been studying everybody right now to make the team that they're going to face. Right now is what I'm saying to you. So if Darvin Ham's not using it correctly, I mean, what else is there to say? Do I need to finish that sentence? It's just you're not going to get the most out of it. It's not going to do what it needs to do. So that's where I've come to bring myself at. This morning, I'm looking around at our roster and I'm saying, okay, we have so many versatile pieces. We got so many players that we can try to play in different ways. Wenyen Gabriel and Anthony Davis should basically be your starting front court. I think at this point, I've seen so much good from those two that I just want to see that more often. I want to see that on the floor for a good 25 minutes together so that they can do some things defensively and on the boards and putbacks and stuff like that I just know is going to run the score up rather easily for us. I love Vanderbilt, but I just think that we're leaning on him in ways that are not extenuating his strengths, and every single night he's a negative, a plus in the plus minus. And I think it's probably because of how we're utilizing him. I think it's probably because of how things are going, how we're running plays for him, trying to get him the ball in situations, he's turning the ball over, stuff like that. We just haven't found a way to really figure out who he is. And I think we're still trying to figure that out. But I don't think we know yet. And I think that we're still probably doing the wrong stuff with Vanderbilt. So for me, even though he's definitely a piece that I want to keep going forward forever, like literally ever, I just think the way that the roster's being utilized would probably be best to bring him off the bench. I really believe that. I think we'd probably be best to bring him off the bench. Starting Wenyen Gabriel, starting Anthony Davis. And see if that works for you in the front court to give you more size while you're missing Bamba. Because I love Vanderbilt defensively, but not as an interior presence like I thought I would. He's more of an exterior guy, roam around guy, perimeter guy rather. You know, he's going to do stuff in the interior that make you say, wow. But as far as him being a standstill piece that can stop a Valanciunas or some of Zubats, not necessarily, man. Nah. He's more likely to get a stop against Ja or against De'Aaron, in my opinion. So now that I'm starting to understand that, it's like, all right, well, can we get him out there on the perimeter then? Can we stop thinking of him as somebody who's going to be your power forward that assists AD with all the stuff that makes you bigger? Because he doesn't. He does a lot of great stuff, but that's not necessarily where he's at his best. So I kind of want to give myself a little more Wenyen Gabriel in the paint next to AD to just make life absolutely impossible. And then when you bring in Vanderbilt, he does more of those things compounding on, sort of like the what we're getting out of AR-15 when we bring him off the bench. You know, you get that super spark. But I think our starts are getting off. We're getting off to a fast start if he's jumping around. I think it was 2 days ago. I think it might have been against Dallas where he got off to a very fast start. Or maybe Memphis, I don't remember which game it was, but he was really, really catering to us, getting us quick lead by hitting threes, getting steals, dunking the ball. So he can help you get off to fast starts by starting. I don't want that part to be lost at all. But if he's not playing his best, I do believe that probably you want to lean in on Wenyen Gabriel since he's been playing so damn good lately. Like, he's really, really playing well. Yesterday, he had a plus 23 and a plus minus, 6 points, 8 rebounds. You just want to lean in on him while he's playing so good. The Dallas game, we know he played, like, amazing. If only he could have got the victory, we would have seen him as a hero as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm recognizing that. And I'm watching Anthony Davis struggle. And I see him starting next to Vanderbilt, and it's not helping. But I did see him against Dallas next to Wenyen Gabriel, and they look like gangbusters. So that's a switch I would consider making, even though nobody's losing faith in Vanderbilt overall. I just don't think that we're using him correctly yet. I don't think we know who he is yet, and I think we're maybe leaving some production on the table as it pertains to what we could do defensively and offensively. Given the fact that the Wenyen's a bit more reliable on the offensive side right now, he just is, man. The turnovers, fumbling the ball off his hands, stuff like that. Vanderbilt, I don't know, man. I want to see us have a little more stability there, just in general. So I'm not demoting Vanderbilt in my mind, even though that's what it is. I'm not demoting him, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I just think that the dynamic we're looking for would probably be best if we start Wenyen Gabriel until Bron gets back. And I don't expect coach to do that. That's an adjustment I would have made. Beasley and Vando out of the starting lineup. Enter Wenyen and AR-15. And then from there, Beasley gets pushed further back down the lineup because I'm moving Lonnie and Max forward, and I'm giving them the minutes that I was giving Beasley, basically. And that's that. When I want some shooting, some extra shooting when D'Lo isn't on the floor, I'll bring in Malik Beasley, let him jack up a couple 3-point shots. If they fall, he can stay out there, shoot some more. If they don't, he's sitting right back down, because that is exactly what his talent is telling us we need to be doing. Straight up. That is exactly what his game tells us we need to be doing. So anything outside of that is you doing it wrong, and you getting a fail out of the situation if he's not hitting shots. And that, of course, is something that we can't afford, given the fact that we only got 10 games left and are in 10th place, fighting for our playoff lives every single second. So, you know what I mean? If Darvin doesn't start utilizing this roster correctly, I'm going to tell y'all, man, I don't know what people are going to do, but I tell you, it shouldn't be a time for us to be going into a sophomore season with the same tendencies ahead, man. We had that problem with small ball last year. I don't want to carry over in bad tendencies. I have a bad hangover from small ball last year. And then from there, they proceeded to give me small ball for a whole half season. I was tired of Frank Vogel at the end of the 21-22 season. They proceeded to bring him back for the 22-23 season, or whatever, what have you it is, whatever it was. I was done with him after 2020, 2021. And they still brought him back. So my thing is this. Can we stop having bad hangovers, bad carryovers, and stuff that we know ain't no good? Carry us into next season, because that's a real thing around here in Laker Nation. We're tired of stuff that we don't like continuing to be stuff we see in brand new seasons. So for me, it's like this. If Malik Beasley isn't shooting well to end the season, don't bring him back at $16 million. Just trade him in the offseason. Do that. Don't carry that over. If Darvin Ham is going to continue to mismanage the roster all the way through the play-in tournament and whatever comes after that, fire him and bring in somebody that is going to give us what we need. Do not carry him over. Like I'm telling you, because it's a thing. It's a bad trait to carry bad traits into new seasons when you know everybody's tired of these things. And so for me, it's like quicker organizational decisions. That's what I think is the bane of why we don't have 18 and 19 in our clutches already. If we would have fired Frank Vogel sooner, we would have had that. If we would have got rid of them old dudes early in the season and fired Frank Vogel and got ourselves some youngsters back then, we would have had that. If we would have, there's certain things you just do sooner, man. When you recognize something that's not good, you don't mull over it, you don't think twice, you just get it out. Get it out of there. And so, cut the weeds out. And that's what we have to do, man. I'm not going to sit up here and say these decisions have already been made. Beasley, for all I know, could hit the next 100 3-point shots in a row, and all of a sudden we think he's Steph Curry and need to repay him and all that. Maybe Darvin Ham figures it out. We start winning a big, long streak. Maybe we get into the playoffs, do some damage. We change our whole tune. But that needs to start. We need to see that. That's what's required, because right now the faith isn't there. I don't care about no game win against the Orlando Magic where AR-15 was basically had to play outside himself just to win. I don't care about that, man. I care about us completing our entire goal and carrying forth good traits in the next season, not the bad ones, just because we want to be timid about what needs to be done and slow to react to making, in-game and team-like adjustments. You know what I mean? Both one and the same. We need to make in-game adjustments. If we're getting whooped on the perimeter, then get out there and guard it differently. Don't continue to run the same drop coverage or whatever it is, same old, whatever zone you're going to run. Don't run that crap. Get out of that push those boys further back behind the line or force them to put the ball on the ground or something. You got to make them do what it is they haven't been doing is what I'm saying. Force them to do what the opposite of what it is they've been kicking your butt doing. And in-game adjustments. And so leaning on the cold hand, I'm still going to believe him even though he was 1 for 7 today. I don't care. We want to keep continuity. That's not going to help you, man. You know, I can cuss and fuss about my frustration, but the bottom line is you're going to lose. Forget how I feel about it. You're going to do that and you're going to lose. And so this continuity is important. You know, I know it's like a big deal when Darvin Ham switches his starting lineups. Okay, we gotta rev up for it. It's like sitting in the car and turn on the engine and then letting it sit there so the car can get warm. That's what it is like when he's making adjustments on his roster. And I'm like, it shouldn't even be like that. A good coach is going to change the starting lineup as frequently as necessary, or completely never, because it always works. You know what I mean? But what you're not going to do is be slow to react. Malik Beasley at this point, he should have been removed from the lineup 2 games ago. But we're slow to react. You know what I mean? Rui should have been adjusted. His whole situation should have been adjusted out of that power forward, asking him to play weak side. Slow to react. And then some stuff is just like, are we trying to lose? Is this the entire, the result we're looking for, that kind of thing, with some of the stuff that we keep doing over and over again, it doesn't work. So that's my thing. It's like, as I assess this coach and I assess all the problems that we've had with previous coaches and different seasons where things just did not make sense, I just look at this as yet another one. And I just think that our team has shown a great deal of growth this season, more growth than we had shown in previous seasons. So I'm poised to them hearing me on this too. You know what I mean? I, as a fan, give them all the carte blanche in the world to keep searching for who works for you. Don't worry about the perception of what it looks like with too much turnover, because if you got the wrong guy in place for too long, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get the results of not getting things done right. So keep searching. Darvin Ham's a rookie coach, black coach. You probably don't want to fire him right away, but guess what? The data tells us that things are not projecting forward properly, so he would have to go if they don't get better quickly, with our timeline being as it is. Or you do right by the rookie coach. You strip everything here that would otherwise give him the need to win, and you let him have the timeline that a rookie coach or a sophomore coach should actually have, which is not win now, which is definitely not what we're going to do. Definitely not what the Lakers are about right now. So I don't think this is the place for him, man. I'm not going to hold y'all, even though I come to conclusions quicker than, a lot of times people do. As it pertains to exaggerating and seeing the future or whatever, I see a lot of stuff early, man. And I'm telling you, all that's going to lead to is him getting fired any damn way. That's all it's going to lead to, man. He going to keep on doing the stuff that he believes in, leaning on players that don't really help him, leaving his best players on the bench. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but if it don't translate to us being no better than 2 games under 500, then it's a bad thing. That's it. So, man, I would love to be the type of personality that just doesn't complain about these type of things. Truly, I would, but I don't know how not to be, man. I just know what doesn't help me win and that needs to change. That's literally all my brain knows, man. That's all my brain knows. I don't really care for a whole lot else in a lot of situations, because it's really just about a chess piece on the chessboard. If you're not going to get it right, then man, we got to move you. And we got to bring in somebody who can help us get to that king. So that's what it is, man. Larry O'Brien is what we're after. And anybody that's going to make bad decisions, that's going to make us a team that can't get it, then they have to move on. And we have to put ourselves in a position to have those pieces in place. However those pieces look, whether they're players, coaches, scouts, whatever. At the end of the day, and I'm going to always bring it back to this, salute the Kobe minute that we're coming up on now. I'm going to always bring it back to this. We're in a lifelong battle with the Boston Celtics. And I don't care who's the regime manager or the owner of the day or whatever the teams look like, whatever colors they're wearing. If they happen to move to different cities somehow in some horrible nightmare and they turn into the Shanghai Sharks versus the LA Dodger basketball team or something, I don't care. I'm going to still remember that that's green over there and this is purple over here. And we got to continue to get more championships than them. That is really all the NBA is about, as far as I'm concerned. All the other teams, y'all are in a race for nothingness. You'll never reach our level. Never. Even though I don't actually believe that. That's what I'm screaming. That's what I'm screaming. You guys are a lifetime away from reaching either one of these two teams. A whole lifetime. So what I'm saying is the NBA at its core, its crust, its crux, it's about the Lakers and the Celtics battle for the most championships. That is the storyline. That is what this thing is about. And so we are the Lakers, and we need to make sure we're good every year so that we can stay in the game. Because if they keep on piling championships up, who knows how long it's going to be before we catch them? Who knows? So I'm looking at all these other teams. They're trying to get their first ring. It's a lot of guys that are happy to be here. God bless all of them. But I don't see none of y'all. Y'all not even in the room. Y'all not in the room, fam. This is a 2-team race to the top forever. And we have to get our lead. We haven't had a lead. Have we ever had a lead against the Boston Celtics in championships? Never. Now, ask yourself this. Who's been to more NBA finals? Us. Who's won more regular season games in the history of the sport? Us. We're better than them, but we don't have more rings. And that's because we had a long era of stuff that went on before me that I have no context for, that we have to make up for. We just didn't win a lot. They beat us a lot. In the 60s, they beat us a lot, man. Every year we was getting our heads kicked in by Green. We cannot let that be lost in our minds as we continue to watch this mediocre core, the crust of players or whatever the heck we got going on ain't getting it done. Whoever's in place, the front office, whoever, if they're not handling business in the moment that we're in, is what I'm saying to you, then they gotta go. Whoever they are. If it's Shaq, if it's Magic, if it's anybody, if it's whoever. If in those moments they don't see the bigger picture in regards to what we got to do against Green, then they don't really understand what the hell we're about. So that's really all it's about. And that's all Green is about too. You better know it. Them diehards over there, they remember the old school guys with red eye were back there still very much intent on having more championships than us. And they're tied right now. Do you know how unhappy they are being tied with us for the first time maybe in history? Do you know how much that eats away at that little lucky charm that sits in the middle of that green ugly floor they got, that parquet nasty floor they got? You got to understand, man. This is deeper than just the era we're in. This is deeper than the commissioner and his wants and all that. All this era, the rules of the era. I don't care if we're shooting the ball 12 feet in the air. It's still Lakers Celtics. And we ain't gonna let nobody lose sight of that, and we're certainly not gonna lose our disdain for Green. And let it be what fuels us to good decision making as a roster, as an organization, ownership. Let that be what fuels you, because that's really what you're involved in, Jeannie. That's what it really is about. Not the banquets, not none of that. Not putting nothing else in front of having more Larry O's than them. Anytime they get a championship, it's disrespectful to us. Whether they beat us to get it or not. That's how real this is. That's what Magic, Kareem, Wilt, and Jerry, Kobe, Shaq, Powell, all those guys, this is what it's about. Worthy, big game. It's all over the place, man. This is what it was about. You got to beat those guys, whether you're seeing them or not. Magic and Kareem didn't inherit that beef. Magic and Bird, rather. Magic and Bird didn't inherit the Celtics and Laker beef. That beef was going on before they got there. That rivalry was firmly in place when they got there. That's how real this is. Mikan was dealing with the Celtics. So I won't let nobody forget that. As we go into this era, we're getting deeper in the Golden State era, and the Bulls, all these guys have come around and had their moment. They need to understand. They better do that 3 more times if they're going to see either one of us. You better do that 3 more times. You better find you another Steph and another Michael Jordan. Do it again. That's how real this is. Ain't none of them on our level. None of them. Just Green. So I will not accept mediocrity. We are about excellence. 17 championships is not enough. It ain't enough. Some of y'all are happy to be here. Respect. Big respect. But the reason why we got so many is because it was never enough. You think we were happy at 14? Wasn't enough. Never enough. And if you ain't hungry for championships, you want to have fun, you better go down the hall. Go down the hall. They don't have no championships and they ain't looking for none. They just trying to beat us every year. They so silly about theirs, they be giving themselves celebrations when they have more wins than us. Like we care about that, bro. You ain't never won a championship in your life. We ain't satisfied with 10. We're not satisfied with 12, 15 championships. We ain't satisfied with. You talking about beating us. Hanging up selfies and stuff. Do you have any idea how irrelevant you are? Tell these Clipper fans, man, stop playing with us. You're beyond relevant. You ain't even on our radar. You better go get you one. And then when you get one, you still ain't on our radar. Go get another. Same thing when you do that too. That's how real it is. Golden State ain't on our radar. If I'm being real, they're not. We respect what they've done. They'll get there eventually, maybe, if they keep this up. Find another Steph. Like I said, find another Steph. These teams, bro, they're not on a level they're not aiming for what we're aiming for. They don't need to demand themselves the excellence that we need to demand of ourselves. They don't. If I go do correspondence for the Timberwolves, I ain't gonna be talking like this. I'm not. But because I'm a Laker, because I got the expectations of chasing green, nah, if we ain't going for the best, everybody gotta go. If people ain't living up to their standards, I don't care how great they are or believe themselves to be or don't believe themselves to be despite being, get out. We don't have time for it. About excellence, winning, championships, greatness. It's already proven. The standard's already set. The name's already up. The statues are outside. If you can't live up to that, you're going bye-bye. Chick Hearn statue outside. We're not playing. So that's how I feel, man. I just want to give a little Laker pride. Talk my ish. Speak my truth. Declare my Lakerdom and let people know as much as it's necessary to what the culture's really about. While everybody's caught up in running the score up and shooting threes and all kinds of crap, we're chasing the Celtics. And will be long after this era's gone. Has been long after the people who remember whatever era they remember were in place. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever their furthest memory is, the Lakers and the Celtics have been battling since before that. That's all I have to say, man. BDL 44. Thank y'all for watching.